Hello and welcome to Let's Talk About It. It's a new podcast in which we will talk about various aspects about online education. My name is Mary and I'll be your host. And each month I will bring some of my colleagues or other people from the industry to discuss with them online schooling. In this first episode, we decided to talk about online classes. And when I say we, I'm not alone. I have here with me my colleagues, our online tutors. Our elementary school tutor, Tammy. Tammy, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here as a first guest of our first podcast. Are you ready?
I am definitely.
Excellent. And Luke, welcome.
Hi, Mary. Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure.
Likewise. I wanted to start this podcast a little bit different. I wanted to ask you questions because throughout the entire night, you will be online tutors and you will be speaking from the role of an online tutor. And I would like to know your personal opinion. So, Tammy, imagine that you are a schoolgirl. You're going to school. Would you be excited for online classes?
Well, definitely. I mean, now when I know what it is and how it works, I would definitely, yes, go to online school, especially if I had teachers like us here.
Oh, I see. Nice. So what aspect of online schooling would you prefer the most? What would you like the most?
Well, I like what we do here and how the system works, our online platform, which is very fun and interactive, and it's like a very interesting way of learning.
Great. Great. And look, if you were a schoolboy, what part of online schooling would be the most interesting for you?
I'd say number one, the comfort of my room.
Yeah. Right?
That would be on the top of my list.
And what about more time for video games, playing basketball with your friends?
Exactly. Sports, games, any hobbies.
Everything.
So, yes,
Great.
everything.
So yeah, online schooling is pretty much offering students a lot of benefits, and we're going to talk about them as well. But just so you don't think so that we are three random persons gathered here to talk about online schooling, let's just say a few words about us. We are representing Education Worldwide, which is an international online school based and registered in Florida, but available to students worldwide, which basically means that we are eligible to enroll students from all around the world because we offer international education. And Tammy and Luke here are with me as representatives of tutors who are pretty much favorites among students. Tammy here, who is working with our youngest students, is known for her endless patience and playfulness, which pretty much ensures that first steps of education goes as smoothly as possible for our youngest students. Which is why, Tammy, I would like to start with you. Can you give us an insight how education at Education Worldwide looks like? How our students learn?
Yes, well, our school is designed to make it easy for our students. We have a virtual platform with all the material that is stored on a single platform. So you don't need any books. You don't need to buy the different types of notebooks or anything. So it's just us teachers and the platform. So you can, as I mentioned, you can always book a class with our teachers if you had any questions, if you don't understand something, for whatever you need, we are there for our students.
Excellent. And look, Tammy said you can book a class. How does that work? I mean, do you have like timetables, or can you explain us that?
Not quite.
Okay.
We have our calendars. We're using an online calendar platform where our students and their parents can have an insight into our schedule, pick the time and date that suits them the best, and book a class for their children.
Okay, great. So how is platform available to them all the time?
Yeah, 24/7. They do have a support of tutors, and of course the link is always live, and they pretty much all the time they can book a class whenever they want.
Excellent. And when we say that we have self-paced and individual learning, can you explain a little bit for parents who might don't know what that means?
Yes, of course. Well, the platform is created so the program, educational program for a specific grade, will start once the student is enrolled, and of course it is self-paced, so you can pretty much create your own pace that you will work your way through the grade. But however, we do have an overdue dates, and we are aiming to finish everything in a timely manner.
Okay, that's great. And Tammy, I'm curious to hear your impressions. Like, you don't have a classroom in which you can walk in and greet your students. So can you please paint a picture for us how an online class look like? When you turn on the camera, what do you see and how does it look like?
First thing I see is the smile
Oh.
on the other side of the computer. We usually start by talking about our day, weekend, or whatever we did previously before the class. And then we just pick a lesson based on their mood and interests. And then we would proceed to it.
Okay, and when it's the first class, when you have to meet a student, and since we already said you're working with our youngest, how old are your students actually?
Well, I teach first, second, third, and fourth graders. So also I have students that are 5-year-old, believe it or not.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
We're going
very
to talk
young.
about it.
Yeah.
So when you meet them for the first time, I mean, you have a 5-year-old kid who is in front of a camera in front of you. How does that look like? Is parent present? Are they allowed to be present, at least at the first class?
Of course. I don't mind their parents, my students' parents, be there. Not at all. I even prefer them being there. Some of my students don't even speak English, or they speak it like on a very basic level. So parents are usually very helpful. And we start by introducing ourselves. I ask them about their interests, what they like, what they don't like. I just try to meet them as best as I can.
Oh, that's great. And tell me, when you say they don't know English, is it absolutely necessary? Is it a requirement that they know a little bit when they start learning, or do you go along the way and teach them along the way?
Absolutely not. It is recommendable that they have at least that basic level of English language, but what I try to do is encourage them all the time. I try to help them learn English. I try to, as I have already said, meet them, and based on my knowledge of their personal lives, make additional material in order to explain the lesson, in order to make them learn new things.
Great.
So I put a lot of effort, and I hope they recognize that effort. I mean, I'm sure they do, because
I'm sure about it too,
yeah.
because I saw some compliments that you got from parents. And we're going to talk more about the program and how you teach them. I would like to ask Luke now, how is the situation in older grades? Like, how are your students reacting to online classes?
Most of them react in a very good way. However, most of my students are coming from traditional schools, regular schools, moving on to the online platform, which is a new thing. It's a big transition, but they do easily manage their first steps and their way through this way and kind of education.
Okay, that's great. I've heard that we also have students who are going to both traditional and our online school.
Yes, they do. I have a couple of students that are attending regular schools, and after that they continue with us as an online education platform.
Okay, great. Did you ever discuss with them about what they like with our online school? Do they have something that they prefer more, maybe?
Yes, of course. We often talk about advantages and what do they like the most about attending online school, and answers are almost the same. They like sitting in their room, having the food whenever they want to, having drinks, going to toilet, and by just being at home, I think it makes them more comfortable with the education, like overall.
process, yeah.
Yeah, Tammy, do you have something to add, please?
No.
Okay, but I have a question for you. So I suppose, well, Luke is working with students who are older, who are used to classes, and whether they are traditional school or online classes, but you're working with young kids who are having hard time of staying still, or maybe they're shy, restless. Can you tell us with what kinds of emotions are you dealing with, and how do you overcome it?
Yeah, it has been a challenge, I have to admit, especially in the beginning of our lessons. Kids don't like to show their weaknesses. If they don't understand something, if they don't know something, they start, sometimes even they tend to misbehave. And what I do is try to encourage them all the time. Whenever I get the chance, I say, "You're good at it. Come on, you can do it. You're doing a good job. Keep up the good work." And they just gain that self-confidence and start behaving very good. And that is what I like the most about my job, actually, to see their progress, to be there when they learn their first English words or anything related to the lesson material.
Awesome. And since you already mentioned English, it's one of the subjects in classes that you're working on. Please tell us how the program at our online school for elementary school kids is organized. Like, what are the subjects that they're listening to?
Yes. So my first and second graders follows especially customized program, which is Spark program. That follows only 2 core subjects, English and math. And when they get to the 3rd and 4th grade, they get 2 more core subjects, which are science and English, history and geography.
Okay. Great. I would just like to add that we are using American International Curriculum, which has been certified and accredited. And I wanted to ask Luke to tell us what subjects do kids have in middle and high school?
It's not much different from elementary school. They do have core subjects and elective subjects. We have 4 core subjects, which are language arts, mathematics, history and geography, and science. And besides that, they can choose 2 electives out of our list of 90 electives, anything from physical fitness to digital arts, nature sciences, and so on. Pretty much everything.
Yeah, that's excellent. Actually, I have looked in our list of electives, and I was like, wow, why I didn't have this in my
Wish I had those
during my high school. So yeah, it's really wonderful. Tammy, tell me please. We are always praising our online platform like it's the most intuitive and the best place for learning. Can you tell us what are those elements in our online learning platform that we love so much and that our students are loving so much?
I think that most important thing is that the program is adapted to students' grade level, to their interests and their needs. Lessons are witty, instructive, and they're humorous. So students really like doing that, especially when we get to the end of the lesson. They really teach them the real values of the world. So they don't only learn the lesson material, like math, English lesson, they learn some real
life
values, life lessons.
Yeah,
Yes. That is very nice feature.
That's great. And what about some features? Because you mentioned that they don't know English. Do we have some features that can help them?
Yes. We do have a translation tool for all the students that have difficulties understanding English. So everything is only 1 click away of having it all translated. So they just have to highlight the text they want translated, choose the language, and that's it.
Great. And when we are talking about a material, a lesson, it's not only a text, right? It's multimedia.
Yes. All the lessons are full of different audio-visual materials, games, which are, kids love those games. We have Carnival Game, which is pretty famous here in our school.
How do you play Carnival Game? We didn't have a Carnival Game when we were at school.
You have the 1 character.
Okay.
And the table that is going around, it's like a circle, and you have to aim at the spot, and whenever you get it, you gain some points, and you do different questions related to the lessons. It kind of prepares you for the next part of the lesson, which is questionary. So it's very useful. And fun, definitely.
Well, that's great. It's important to have fun, right? Excellent. Luke, are things the same at middle and high school? Do your kids love to playing carnival games and similar stuff, or you have something else?
We do have something else for
Okay.
those higher grades. Not as much carnival games as essays. They love writing
not-
essays.
That doesn't sound fun.
Yeah. Well, depends on the topic, I must admit. I usually suggest to my students to do research on their own before they start doing their essay questions. Most of the time, all the time, the most important parts of the topic are included in the lesson, but something like fun facts can be found on somewhere else on internet, like Wikipedia or any similar website.
Okay, do we have like additional resources that we give them? I mean, as a tutor, do you sometimes when they research for an essay?
Yeah, let's take, for example,
No, you don't have to mention. I was just wondering, do you as a teacher
yes,
help them?
of course. I always try to point them at the right direction, to give them as much as material as I can, and it makes the quality of the essay itself much higher, and they do get to learn better and learn more while performing their own research.
Okay, that's great. And since we mentioned multimedia material, and we all know that not only kids, but we are all the time on the computers, on the phones. We are watching photos, videos. We are just consuming that content. How much having that content and having lessons explained through that kind of content helps students to learn better and to learn quicker, for example?
Well, it helps a lot. I'll take, for example, a chemistry. All right,
Okay.
we are talking about experiments. We cannot perform experiments online to keep the quality as the live experiments. So, having videos and pictures are of great help when it comes to better understanding of a topic, of a lesson, and everything else that comes with it.
Okay, great. Tammy, I would like to hear from you, like, how do you teach your students? Like, give us an insight into your online class. What are you doing to make them learn or to teach them how to learn?
Well, let's start with this. A good motivation for them is the playtime after we finish the lesson. So before even starting, I say, okay, if you're good today, if you're a good student, we will have enough playtime at the end. That my playtime includes playing different types of games like Pictionary game, Hangman, Tic-Tac-Toe, whatever. So it really motivates them to perform better. But we start by logging into the platform, choose the lesson we are going to work on that day, and we just proceed to reading, listening to those videos, those types of things.
And how do you help them if they struggle with a particular topic or with a particular lesson? Like, how do you overcome some struggles that they might have with the lessons and with the material?
By explaining it.
Okay.
Everything is basically written on the platform. So we just get back to the previous lesson to remind ourselves, what we had done before, and basically that's it.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm trying to put something that we have prepared for parents who are listening to us, but okay, I will continue asking you this. I was thinking, because you're having this one-on-one sessions with your students, you're probably getting a lot of information, and as you have said, you're having fun on the classes, you're getting to know them. Like, how do you use something that they like perhaps,
Yes.
and incorporate in lessons so they can maybe learn better, or
Well,
do you do that actually?
yes. I prepare a lot of additional material for them. Once, I mean, as I already mentioned that I try to meet my students as best as I can to try to understand what they like, etc. So my experience showed me that students and all of us learn the best based on our personal experiences. So what I do is try to involve their lives into the worksheets I make. So once I have a student that adores dinosaurs.
Okay.
Yeah, so
We all do.
Yeah, so I wanted to. It was a math lesson we did, and he didn't understand it very well. So I wondered, how can I explain math using, their personal interests? And what I did is downloaded a lot of different dinosaur pictures, and then we had to count dinosaur eggs. T-Rex went to school, T-Rex ate sausages, T-Rex played football.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was very fun. Imagine his face when he saw it, and he loved it. He understood the lesson, which is even more important, and it was a good work. And also, my satisfaction was priceless.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah.
So everything is pretty much subjected to a student, and you're doing everything to basically customize classes.
Of course, I even include their families' names and pets' names into those worksheets. So it really is useful.
Awesome.
And fun.
Sorry, how long does the class last?
Usually half an hour to 45 minutes.
Okay.
But if we have to prolong it, we do that.
Okay, and look, I would very much love to hear, how do you stimulate your students and how do you nurture curiosity on your classes? Because I don't think dinosaurs were going to cut with middle and high schoolers. Or
No,
maybe I'm
we
wrong.
are more into paleontology, but still dinosaurs there. As Tammy said, I always tend to meet my students as much as I can to find out about their interest, hobbies, the things they're into. For example, I have a couple of students, they are into sports, and that's one of the reasons they moved to an online education. They do have 2 training sessions per day, 5 days a week, and they just do not have enough time to go to regular school, so they come here. And I like to give them the real life examples whenever I can. Of course, I cannot give them real life examples for everything. But just to give them fun facts, to tell them something I like. We perform research together, find something funny, something interesting, and I can just give them a little spark. They have to enlighten their own curiosity.
I like the way you said that. Okay, so basically, if I understood very well, it's not just like you're talking 45 minutes or half an hour, but rather a conversation with them?
Yes, of course. It's a one-on-one class. That's having a two-sided conversation is one of the advantages, in my opinion. And we would go through a lesson. We would read all the material that we have in it. Then we would discuss it, and then later on we would move to a questionary and test preparations and such.
Okay, and can you give us an example of how your class looks like? Like what kind of the materials are you going through, or how the class is structured?
Yes, of course. We start with selecting a topic, selecting a subject given for that day, or student can make a pick on his own will. We would get into a lesson. The lesson starts with a title, as every lesson we have, of course. Afterwards, we have a vocabulary part. That's a part where we encounter some words that will be mentioned throughout the lesson. It can be a word, a phrase. We make sure to understand them. And then we move on to the text. We move on to the reading, and once we are done reading, we do questionaries. every lesson has a couple of sections. After every section, we have 2 to 3 or 4 questions, and all lessons have like 3 to 5 sections. So 20 questions after each lesson to prepare them for the upcoming lesson or a test or a quiz.
Okay, and you were mentioning vocabulary, then you're mentioning all these questions, a lot of questions in the process. How much is important to make students familiar with the things that they're going to learn, and those questions? Can you give me an insight of how they react? Is that something that makes them learn more, learn better, teach them how to learn on their own?
Well. Everything that we learn in a given lesson is in the questions. I mean, every question is based on the lesson itself. So I'd say that it's just double checking their knowledge before moving on to the next lesson. For example, if we are reading about early settlements in the New World, we are going to have a question to name them all and such.
Okay. Tammy, I would like to ask you a few questions more about your classes. Like, what happens when did you ever maybe decided to have 2 students in your class, and maybe who are at the same level and
Yes, as I mentioned, not all of my students speak English on a native level, but what I do is try to mix them whenever I get the chance. So I have students from America and Croatia, for example, and
great.
yes, they have similar backgrounds. So I wanted to put them together so we could talk about our cultures, to exchange our cultural experiences and culture at all. So they loved that class. It was very fun. I loved it. So we talked about Christmas, and because he's from America, he's Jewish and he celebrates Hanukkah. So it was very fun class. They both were very happy to talk about their what they do on those days, which presents they get. Oh, it was amazing. I loved it, and they were thrilled after the class. They still ask me. We had a few classes so far, so they always ask me, "Oh, when we are going to meet each other? Please tell me. Can you arrange something?" Yes, I'm like always. Yeah. I love doing that.
We are considering group classes, but I'll be talking more about it later during this night. Look, the international environment and having students from literally all parts of the world, does it affect you as a student? Do you have to change your approach, and how much do you have to change your approach?
Well, actually, not at all. I would say the platform
Great.
is very universal,
Yeah.
and it's created to fit to be fit international wide. So it's kind of same for all the students. The lesson material, the test, the quiz. No one has any advantages over the others. So we are all equal here and doing the same job.
Excellent. I have asked Tammy this, but I didn't ask you. And there's a rumor that you make students fall in love in math, history, and geography, and those were all subjects that they didn't like in their previous school. So, what happened with these tough subjects? How do you make your students fall in love with them and try?
Well, it's just me. Just joking.
Okay.
Mainly I'm a tutor for history and geography, which were my 2 favorite subjects, and I believe I can make them as fun as possible. Teachers that make history and geography boring are literal criminals, in my opinion.
Okay.
So it's not hard, but as you mentioned, yes, I had a case with my student. He's still going to a regular school and to online school with us, and he hates history and geography. On our first class, when I told him we are going to do that, he was just out. He would not waste a minute on it. after we finished on the next class, his parents joined and they were thrilled. He likes it so much, and now we have the biggest progress on history and geography
Excellent.
compared to all other subjects.
Excellent. Okay, tell me. I got stuck a little
Right.
bit, but you mentioned best progress. I would like to know about grading. We don't use grades, right?
No, not the system that's implemented in the regular
Can you
schools.
explain us a little bit? So they're not grades, but what do they get?
They get points. We
Okay.
have 100 points as our highest grade in this case. And as I mentioned earlier, we have two kinds of questions. We have select the answer question, select all that apply. That's one category. And on the other one, we have essay questions and projects. Platform is taking care itself about those select the right answer or select all that apply questions. And once they submit their essay, we are going through it and giving it adequate number of points. We have a couple of criteria. That's how much they stick to a topic, the word count, and etc. Everything that comes with it, spelling and
So basically everything is covered. Because we are
Yes, yes.
constantly talking about fun and games, I don't want anybody to misinterpret that like we don't really do
yeah, of
serious
course,
stuff
of
here.
course
So
not.
yeah, students do get educated and they do get their some sort of grading.
Yes,
of
yes,
their
they
progress.
do. The best way I can see it is once we are moving from a lesson to lesson, making progress. I see how much they can remember from the previous lessons and connect that to the current lessons, and that's the part when we make our discussions. So
Excellent. And what's your proudest moment so far?
proudest
As,
moment.
as a tutor, as an online tutor.
Every student being on time on class. That wasn't the thing.
That's actually a really good thing. Can students escape from online classes?
No, they cannot escape. I mean, physically they can, but I'm going to contact the parents. We are always
so we're
doing that.
contacting parents.
If a student does not show up for the first 15 minutes of a class, we are getting in touch with parents, checking if everything is all right. And if there's a reason for it, however, we can always reschedule it, move it a couple of hours, push it, or pull it back in time.
Okay. Tammy, the same question for you. What's your proudest moment as an online tutor?
Well, since I teach the younger students, I have to admit that I have students that, as I mean, I mentioned that a lot of times, but they didn't speak any English at the beginning of our classes. And a couple of months ago, we did a lesson and the questions are going and I'm reading and everything. Their mom is translating for us and she just answers the question by herself without waiting for her mom to translate that.
That's excellent.
And yeah, both of us were shocked. She understood everything. From that moment, she started to understand at least a little bit. So she hasn't spoken since that, like on a native level, obviously, but she does understand and she interacts with us. She talks. She's trying to get involved as much as she can. So I was very proud of her, and I still am. She's trying to. She's practicing a lot at home. So that is very important aspect of education, after all. So yes, that was my proudest moment so far.
And you're one of ours more enthusiastic tutors. I mean, every time somebody passes by your office, we can hear you very excited. Can you tell us what are you doing in your classes and how do you motivate your students and how do you think it's important for you to motivate them?
I take it very seriously, really, but I try to play with them, to talk to them on a fun way, to try to explain the different linguistical units or material, math, English, whatever, science, on a fun way. So that's what I do. I make quizzes. I make different types of worksheets. We have a whole designer team here at Education Worldwide that helps us make as much material as possible. And I have to admit that everything is custom made here. All of our students are on a different levels, yes, of knowledge and all those things. But yes, we try. Not me. I'm here with Luke and all of our other teachers. We try to interact with them to put all of us into trying to help them, to make them learn something new and to be the part of their lives.
Okay, that's great. Luke, can you tell me, you're also discussing various aspects of your students' life, their interests and stuff like that. And what are you talking about? I heard that you're talking with your student about video games, maybe even planning some, I don't know, a tournament, video game tournament on a school level?
That would be awesome. Yeah, I'd like to be included as well. Yes, well, most of my students are into video games as their hobby. And I can say that we are going to have some very, very world-known streamers, gamers, and maybe, who knows, one day game creators as well.
Wow, that's excellent. And how much the knowledge about what they like in personal life, like what are their interests outside of the school, can help you maybe with not showing them, but directing them towards a certain elective, because there are a lot of electives over there. And
Yes, well, I think it's very important because that's one of the main aspects that helps you create a connection with a student, and that's very important when you're working one-on-one system. So once you get to know them, and if they need help with picking an elective, I usually create a quiz for them and try to find out their interests. But we never pick electives just student and myself. We always include parents and see where it goes from there.
Okay, great. I would like to invite our viewers to freely ask us a question if you have. And I got a lot of questions on our email, so I'm going to ask Tammy and Luke. We answered some of them partially during our talk for now, but I will ask Tammy and Luke to help me with the others. So one of the question was, what is the role of a learner? Like, what do we expect from a learner? So Tammy, ladies first, tell us, what do you expect from your students? Like,
I expect them to pay attention on our classes. That is very important for me. Also, I just let them be. I mean, I don't expect a lot. I just want them to want to learn. And that is what is the most important part of this process of learning, of their education. So also, maybe it would be, yes, as I talked about that. I want them to practice at home. So,
okay. So did you have a homework?
Yes. We always give them homework, but we expect from them to practice at home. It's not enough to be there for half an hour, 45 minutes, and think that's enough. They have to learn on their own, by themselves, all the time, and especially when they have some tests or quizzes, they have to prepare for them.
In your opinion, for elementary school student, how long do they have to learn? On their own and including your online class, like what is the amount of time that they spend at an online school?
Maybe 2 hours a day would be enough.
Oh, great. So
Yeah.
that's much less than they do spend at traditional school. Luke, pretty much the same question for you, because at higher grades they have more subjects. Do you think that how long do they have to learn?
Well, it depends on the individual. Everyone's different. Someone needs more time. Someone needs less time to understand something. Someone wants to spend 5 days a week with a lesson. Someone wants to spend 2 days a week. So it pretty much depends on the student. But I'd say after we finish our lessons and they do have time on their own to work on a platform to finish all of the other lessons. I think somewhere between 2 and 4 hours per day would be enough for middle and high school students to spend on their education.
Yeah, that's still very less than they do in traditional
Yes,
schools,
it is.
which is one of the benefits of online school that allows you to have more free time and spend it on whatever you want.
No transportation, no.
Yeah.
Yes, well, I would like to
Okay.
jump in. Our program, like the whole program, is self-paced. So the most important thing is that they can learn whenever they want to learn, whenever they have time to do it. It's not like an obligation. Okay, you have to sit there for 2 hours and study. No, you can study whenever you want. It's just we are asking you to do it whenever you get a chance, because it would help us also a lot.
Okay. What happened when a student shows up at your class and say that they didn't quite understand what you were teaching them the day before?
I don't get angry. Yeah, well, we just go through the lesson again and try to explain whatever they didn't understand.
Yeah, that's something that I really like with online school, because, you know, in traditional school, a teacher has to follow a certain tempo, and they just move over, and a student is left all by themselves to learn stuff that they didn't get to learn on the class, which is pretty much hard for them actually to do it. Let me just check our chat to see. Still no questions. People, please feel free to ask us anything. Tammy and Luke are here. They will answer firsthand how online classes look like, and I'm here if you have any questions regarding our online school in general. Okay, so speaking about that, what we expect from students, do you think, Luke, that our students are overwhelmed with the material, or do you think that it's evenly distributed and they have enough time for everything?
I think they do have time for everything. As Tammy already said, the platform is created in a way that you can set your own pace. And by setting your own pace, it helps a lot. It helps a lot to adjust your time, so you can finish your school obligations and then spend the time however you want after that.
Would you like that you had that?
Yes, I would really like to. I was wasting 2.5 hours a day just on transport to get to school and back. Then 6 hours in school. It's 10 hours a day. Yeah, and that's a lot of time. Then sports after that. I'm not complaining. I just love if I had a choice to make it more in a way that I would like it more.
Okay, so Tammy, I have been talking with you about pairing of students, and we are considering group classes for the 2021, and we will talk about it in one of our next podcasts. But what I would like to hear from you now, like, what do you think will those group classes can bring to students, to your students, for example?
I think the socialization is very important in life, and having a chance to talk, to connect with people worldwide is something that brings a lot of new experiences, new
new experiences, you
new,
said?
Yeah, new experiences. But I wanted to say, like, you can meet new people throughout the world. Yes, and I think that it will be fun to study together to have a study buddy.
A study buddy, yeah. They can have their study buddy at online school as well.
Yeah, I wish I had my study buddy. When I went to school. I think the group classes will bring a lot of interesting things and interesting people to their lives. And I'm really, 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 truly looking forward to that.
Great, I believe.
Can't wait.
I believe that is so. Luke, do you think group classes on the level of middle and high schoolers would be a good thing?
Yes, yes. In some cases, yes. I think my opinion is like 50-50 on this topic,
Okay.
but yeah, it has its advantages and disadvantages. But definitely would be a fun to try. So
Oh, great.
I think yes. I think yes. Communication. They can get connected out of a school. As I said, a lot of them play video games, and a lot of them play same video games. So I think they would like it.
Okay, great. Let me just see if we have any questions.
All right.
Can I
could you-
mention one more
Okay,
thing
of
while
course.
you're doing
Please,
that?
feel free.
So, group classes will enable us to learn different languages also. So not only meet
Yeah.
different cultures, but
Exactly.
learn different languages. Like myself. So I want to mention that I have, yeah, you know, we have students worldwide, but in order to explain some lessons, I tried to learn their language, and I really picked up a few words from every language of, you know, every student I have. I even learned Romanian words for numbers in
Wow,
order to
that's
explain
great.
math.
That's
We
great.
talked about it. Math is a universal language. Everybody speaks math. Math is pretty much the same everywhere in the world, but it's difficult to explain, especially to little, to kids. And I learned Romanian also. So I picked up a few Russian words, German words, Spanish. I mean, it is really, really, really nice to be able to communicate with another people.
Oh, that's great. So you're learning from your students as well, not
Yes,
just the other way around.
every day.
Excellent. Luke, what did you learn from your students?
Couple of words in Spanish, in
Okay.
Russian, and how to be young again. It feels good.
That's great. So you will actually be forever young if you
Yes,
continue
yes,
doing
yes,
this job.
Yes,
So
yes,
great.
I do.
Okay, great.
Hopefully.
Because we have a Hiram here. Hiram is hi Hiram.
Hello.
Just wanted
Hi
to
there.
say hi. He's a parent of 3 students who are going to our online school, and he's asking more information about group classes. Well, Hiram, all we can tell you is yes, we are definitely going to have group classes in 2021, and we're going to inform all parents. After all these holidays and when the things are a little easier. For now, we're just thinking how we're going to do it. But don't worry, if you want, you will still have the opportunity to schedule one-on-one classes as well. Like group classes will just be an additional thing that we are going to do in 2021. Okay. That will be it. If anybody else have a question, you can freely ask in the comments, or if you're shy to ask your question in the comment, you can find our email in the description and you can send us an email. So me or some of my colleagues who are educational consultants will be glad to answer all your questions. Tammy, any last words for tonight's podcast?
Yes, well, maybe I would like to mention that, I will speak in the name of all of us at Education Worldwide. We really love our jobs and we are very happy to teach, and we cannot wait for all the students to come to our school and join the team.
Okay, that's great. Luke, what about you? What would you like to say to our viewers?
I'll keep it short. Well, since we are not going to have classes in next 10 days, I'd like to take this opportunity to say hi to everyone.
Okay.
and happy holidays.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm just going to tell you that thank you very much for joining us on this podcast. And as I said, you have all our information in the description of this video, so feel free to contact us. I will also mention that we have open enrollments throughout the entire year, so you can always ask us questions. You can always enroll your children. You hear now that we are doing individual classes, that we are having individual approach. So don't worry, we will create a program specifically designed for your child so they can follow it on their own pace. Once again, thank you very much. Happy holidays and see you next time. Bye.